Hello, Epiphany. Happy Friday. Good to see you here. We are at the gate of the high priest's house, right? The vestibule. Now with Jesus and the disciple whom Jesus loved and Peter. Peter coming with his power and courage and reputation to take care of his Lord. The beloved disciple coming to just be near Jesus. Wherever Jesus is, he was going to be. And so we find them outside the gates. Let's see what happens. Verse 15. Simon Peter and the other disciple followed Jesus. Since that disciple was known to the high priest, he went with Jesus into the courtyard of the high priest. So the beloved disciple, of course, Lazarus, would be known by the high priest in chapter 12. The high priest put a hit out at him. People were coming to Jesus through Lazarus, who had been raised from the dead, and he became an extraordinary threat. And so I imagine the high priest just as soon have him inside the house where there were guards and people could control him as opposed to outside the house. So he is invited right in with Jesus, and the two of them enter into that space. But Peter doesn't cross the vestibule. Right? Remember, Jesus says a couple of chapters back that I am the gate. That was one of the examples he gave in chapter 14 when he is talking to the disciples. And people come through me. Peter wasn't willing to go through Jesus. Right? He couldn't cross the vestibule. And he didn't own that relationship with Jesus that allowed him to move into his strongest, most authentic self. And so he's standing outside the gate. Interesting. And the other disciple who was known to the high priest, went out and he spoke to the woman who guarded the gate and brought Peter in. So he couldn't get in by himself. The disciple whom Jesus loved had to bring him in to that space, had to guide him into that space because Peter didn't see it. So he set him there in the vestibule inside the gate, but not into the house. Remember the mansion? Jesus, another example he gave at the Last Supper was the mansion. The mansion he went into, the mansion that the beloved disciple went into with him, Peter couldn't go in. So the woman says to Peter, "Are you not one of this man's disciples? You are not also one of this man's disciples, are you?" And he says, "I am not." Now the slave and the police who had made the charcoal fire, because it was cold and they were standing around it and warming themselves. So they're there all around the fire. Peter's with them. He's with the slave. The slaves. He's with the police. He's not with the Roman guards. They're warming themselves. Peter's standing with them. He's integrated himself into the regular pattern and power structure of the world as it was. And he denied his Lord out there. Then So Peter now has just sort of fit into the pattern of life and not owned the transformed life that Jesus has allowed him. And again, very specific. We know the charcoal, we know who was there because Lazarus had witnessed it. Verse 19. Then the high priest questioned Jesus about his disciples and about his teachings. And Jesus answered, "I have spoken openly to the world. I have always taught in synagogues and in the temple, where all the Jews come together. I have said nothing in secret. Why do you ask me?" Ask those who heard what I said to them. They know what I said. So that's the other really wonderful thing about Jesus' teachings, entirely transparent. When he had said this, one of the police standing near him struck Jesus on the face, saying, "Is that how you answer the high priest? With the truth?" Jesus answered, "If I have spoken wrongly, testify to the wrong. But if I have spoken rightly, do not strike me." Then Ananias sent him bound to Caiaphas, the high priest. What a powerful statement to live by. If I have spoken wrongly, testify to the wrong. But if I have not spoken wrongly, do not strike me. What if that is what the world looked like? What if words mattered? What if words came out and were an honest reflection of the reality? I think we've lost a little sense of that in this world of fake news and one person's truth being good and another's being good, and them being in conflict and not knowing the truth, and then the striking, if you will, that can happen as a result of that. Jesus gives us something very clearly to consider. If I have spoken wrongly, then testify to that, like bear witness to it, but otherwise don't try to silence my voice. And so Jesus does not let his voice be silenced, just as he doesn't want any of our voices to be silenced. And so the witness here is that whenever you speak as if you're speaking the word of God. Speak as if God is speaking into your ear. Speak as if you're seeking to articulate the truth to the God that knows it. And everyone else will be blessed by that. It's a way to think about this text. There's a lot of ways to think about it. But I invite you to consider how you speak as if you're speaking to God this weekend. You're in my prayers. I miss seeing you. I hope you're on the service Sunday, because worship is one way in which we speak directly to God. I love you. Peace upon your souls.